Well, as there's just a few days left in the 2023 calendar, we are going to preview the 2024 upcoming schedule, the Sprint Car Challenge Tour. Joining us for Track Talk is going to be PR manager as well as full-time announcer for SCCT, and that is Gary Thomas. That's coming up after these messages. Dave's Home Supply specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. Well, he's back for Track Talk. It's Gary Thomas representing the Sprint Car Challenge Tour, and Gary is here to talk about the amazing 2024 season. But I guess before we get to that, Gary, 2023 was a pretty good year for SCCT, in which it really came down to the last couple legs of action, and there was some plot twists towards the end of the year with the series.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on, Ben. It's been far too long, it seems. And, we're coming off a really entertaining year with SCCT, where it was the closest point battle since it became a series back in 2017. You had three guys in contention going into the final race in Stockton, and it ended up being 11 points that separated those three drivers. So close point battle, and as always, it was really close competition.
Well, it was kind of one of those deals, too, where it seems like it never fails. Last race of the year, some wild and crazy things happened. The point leader had to exit early, and then the contenders, they were trying to do the best they can to finish as high as they can, and it was every position counted.
Yeah, that's kind of like we always see there at Stockton. You never know what you're going to get track wise. You know, it could be rough and heavy, which it was that night, or it could be really slick and kind of technical. But Stockton always throws a curveball in there, and you never know what you're going to get. And all those guys really had a little something happen to them. And you look at a guy like Caleb Montgomery that had his best finish of the year at Stockton in second, and ended up losing the title by 4 points, which is essentially two spots on the track. So it was close, and it was fun, and hopefully even better this year.
Well, we'll talk about this upcoming season. A really good slate of action and some expansion, which is always great to see in a series, and it shows growth and health in a series.
Yeah, and it's kind of growing up in the Northwest and everything, and it really kind of encompasses, the Western United States and everything with the way the schedule laid out. So we got a good mix of races down here, and as you mentioned, a little expansion in the Northwest, which should be all positive.
So we'll start with the opening leg, Placerville Speedway, much like last year, opening things up in the month of March, and the Spring Fever Frenzy, if I recall, that was the race in which Justin Sanders was continuing to lay down the law at Placerville.
Yeah, it's become a really nice tradition to open up the season at Placerville Speedway. Of course, Scott Russell and Cammy Arnold, the promoters of Placerville, also manage the Sprint Car Challenge Tour. So it's been a tradition to open up at Placerville, and we for whatever reason have been fortunate to get that show in every year since 2017. Which obviously in March it's always a gamble down here in California, but that's always a fun race. And yeah, Justin Sanders has been the man at Placerville, especially in that Dale Miller 4SA, and he did win opening night last year.
Well, and the most recent facility that the series ventured to will be the second race on the proposed schedule, in which Stockton Dirt Track, Asparagus Cup, a double bill weekend with the NARC 410 Sprint Car Series.
Yeah, that's a race we tried to obviously get in last year, and we just talked about getting lucky at Placerville with the weather, but we weren't so lucky at Stockton with that first show. So hopefully this year we'll be able to get it in. And it's a little different than the end of the year where some of the teams are kind of, they kind of called it quits. So this early in the season, I'm really excited to see what the car counts are. And obviously it's been well documented with the track being reconfigured to be a much smaller shape. That should bring out a lot of interest as well. So we're looking forward to really big car counts that night with both SCCT and NARC.
Yeah, I think it could be a game. I mean, Stockton is a wild card track in itself with the limited amount of events that they run, and that makes it exciting. And that will, I think, with it being a new racetrack, everything is out the book as far as old data and old race notes.
Yeah, and that's what should make it really, really interesting. So, I mean, there'd be a lot of eyeballs on that night, and I mean, just there was teams that just they stopped going there just because they weren't comfortable with the bigger track. They don't run tracks that size. So, with the new configuration, we're crossing our fingers that it's going to be something that brings teams in and brings fans out in the grandstands.
Well, and then you guys stay in the Central Valley a few weeks later. Merced Speedway, well documented this past fall, in which had some exciting midget races and has been known to have some exciting wing 360 races. And it's great to see that there's some more wing sprint car races taking place at the Central Valley quarter mile.
Yeah, I've always said that, it really doesn't matter what division races at Merced. It's just they're always exciting, be it a sprint car midget, a four-banger, a hobby stock. So, yeah, we're looking forward to getting back to Merced. It's kind of been a yearly deal. I think this is the third season in a row that we've had an event there in April, so the weather's nice and cool, and the track, Doug Lockwood's going to have it in tip-top shape.
And Dominic Selzy, the defending race winner there, and that's kind of what kicked him off on a spree of races, especially with the 410 later on in the month of May and late April, was just on a tear there.
Yeah, and that was a good race last year, and like we said, it's going to be much more of the same this season. And there's not a lot of wing shows, so if you want to see racing at Merced, you don't have a lot of opportunities if you're a wing sprint car fan.
Well, and probably one of the biggest races that takes place at Marysville Raceway, the Hall Memorial, paying tribute to Mel and Marlyn Hall, and a good car count. And last year, Marysville weekly action, I think, was just top shelf quality. Definitely is churning out some talent that all of us in Northern California are really looking forward to see kind of expanding and going to some different racetracks.
Yeah, and you look at Marysville, the Mel and Marlyn Hall Memorial has been going on this will be the 24th running, and SCCT's been there the last handful of years or so, and that's become a really fun stop during Memorial Day weekend, and you add that in with Chico. They've been doing the fair race, of course, the next day, so we're looking forward to that. It's the only time we go there all season long, so that's point race number 4 in the season is Marysville. And
let's see, defending race winner, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy Forsberg, right?
Yeah, Andy Forsberg, and that was 6th or 7th win at that race, the most all time. So yeah, he's taking a lot of money out of that Hall Memorial.
Yeah, I remember, the no wireless microphone, or it wasn't working, unfortunately. So he ran up to the tower, which if anyone has never been to Marysville Raceway, you should go to this race, and just to see the tower that the camera crews and the announcers have to climb up. It's like scaling a mountain.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a little easier to go up, but coming down at the end of the night can be a little treacherous with those steps.
Yeah, especially lack of light as well. Well,
yeah, absolutely.
And here's something interesting, too. May 31st, Placerville Speedway, Dave Bradway Jr. Memorial on a Friday night, something that Placerville tried last year, and it seemed to be successful. I mean, the Bradway weekend had a lot of race cars show up, a lot of fans watch, and now moving to the very last day of May for 2024 edition.
Yeah, that's another one really excited to have back, is the 2-day show during the Bradway. Of course, for a few years, Scott and Cammy tried the single night show with NARC and SCCT all in one night. It's so tough to put a track together, as everybody knows, when it's near triple digits and you're kind of entering that summer months. So this doubleheader was good last season, and we just hope to see a little more crowd support, obviously, on Friday night. Rome wasn't built in a day, as everybody says. So sure. With this being the second year in a row of a doubleheader, we hope to even see more support.
And Dominic Selzy won that one, and it was a great primer for the 410 portion the next night. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's what makes it so much fun. Is the first night you get the SCCT 360s, and you come back the next night with the NARC 410s. And I know last year the dwarf cars were really exciting both nights as well.
Well, and then something that was cool last year for the 410 portion, Colby Copeland winning, an emotional win for Jim and Annette Van Laer, his car owners. But then they were able to back it up at Petaluma Speedway in the North Bay, an area in which Jim and Annette are from and where Jim had raced. And, that, I think, sealed maybe a little bit more of an emotional victory for that team, as Colby was able to pick up the victory on the Adobe Clay 3/8 mile, and they'll be there on June 8th.
Yeah, that was a really special moment last year, seeing Jim and Annette pick up the win. Of course, that night also did a memorial lap for his dad. He passed away, just before that. So Petaluma it's a track that we've actually had some better car counts at the last couple of years. A few years ago it was kind of getting a little bit low, but Rick Faith works his tail off of that place, and they always get an outstanding crowd. So that's the first stop that we go to at Petaluma June 8th.
Well, and then the next one is Antioch Speedway, June 15th. Now, last year it was in July, and the weather was pretty hot, and I believe, and by all means correct me, by moving it to mid-June, maybe a little bit cooler temperatures and better weather, and a chance for more folks to come out and watch and have at least be more enjoyable weather-wise.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope, is that maybe a little bit earlier we hopefully get lucky. I mean, that was just one of those days that was 100 and 106, 107, whatever it was. But it was pretty brutal. It was tough to see obviously when it's that hot, get a lot of crowd support. So hopefully this year it'll be better, because I know that those guys and girls over there at Antioch are doing a heck of a job. Obviously they've cleaned the facility up the last few years, and they're really trying hard. So we're looking forward to June 15th.
And kind of like Stockton, a little bit of a wild card track where there's not a ton of races there, but when there are races, it's enjoyable to watch, and it can be some fun shows.
Yeah, we've seen some great racing at Antioch the last 20 or 30 years or whatnot, and there was a time where there wasn't a lot of wing sprint car shows there, so they're trying, and you got to hand it to them, and let's hope that we can fill the stands at all the wing sprint car shows there this year.
Yeah, Shane Golubic winning the race last year. Now here's where we get kind of the meat of the season, and really kind of like with the fastest 5 days now with NARC, this could have some major implications exactly how the championship pendulum is going to swing. Speedweek, the Speedweek Sprint Car Challenge Tour on the schedule with the Western Sprint Tour. I didn't see, though, if that's Speedweek Northwest or you guys are going with a new name, but that's definitely something exciting and no doubt going to draw lots of cars from the Pacific Northwest and lots of cars from California.
Yeah, last year I think was the first season that it actually ended up down in California the final two nights. So this year, adding it to the Sprint Car Challenge Tour schedule is something that should be a lot of fun. A lot of California teams obviously have supported it over the years. So, we're looking forward to just seeing what kind of support we can get. I know there's going to be more announcements to come with purse details and championship fund details. But, it's going to be an interesting week, that's for sure.
Yeah, kicks off on a Monday, Cottage Grove Speedway, July 15th. Coos Bay Speedway, July 16th. Douglas County Dirt Track in Roseburg, July 17th. And really cool to see Wairika Speedway open it, formerly known as Siskiyou Golden Speedway, Siskiyou Motor Speedway. That'll be Thursday the 18th. And then, Silver Dollar Speedway in Chico on the 19th and Placerville on the 20th. And I think what's really cool is last year, and you were correct, that's the first time that Speedweek Northwest, it had ended in California, in that part of California. But this year, what'll be nice is everything, the race procedures will be the same, whereas like the Chico race was they had the special Lowell Morale tribute race, Tiger Wolf Memorial, different format, Cycleland format, and then obviously Placerville, it was your guys' championship points night, so had to stay consistent with the special Placerville format, but with this, it'll be standard from race one to the last one, that it'll be the same structure.
Yeah, and that kind of really all, it ties Speedweek together, which really is what it should be. It should be the same format every night, and essentially the same streaming company, for the fans that can't make it out. But that's what should make it a lot of fun. And then something different this year is last year, we ended it obviously at the Placerville point finale, and we did Legends Night, and it was just a lot to get through. So this year it's not going to be Legends Night, so it should get over earlier. It'll be a little easier to get through all the special pomp and circumstance. So it'll be interesting. We hope all the fans can support it and the teams as well.
Well, and after that, so that'll be July 20th at Placerville. That's the Speedweek finale. Take a little bit of time off. Knoxville's happening and some other things in the area. Gives some chance to go do some domestic points racing as well. But Petaluma Speedway, September 21st, 5,000 to win, Adobe Cup. And I guess, first of all, we got to say, great that Petaluma is still open and operating. That is a great thing, because this time last year, it was looking like 2023 was going to be it.
Yeah, we talked about, obviously, SCCT going there in June, and then we come back at the Adobe Cup for the third or fourth year in a row that we've sanctioned it. And, it's another one of, the car count's actually been a pleasant surprise. It's got some pretty good support, and the weather is obviously cooling down at that point of the year, and it's been great to see Petaluma look like they're going to, at least be here for a few more years, and that's what you got to have. It kind of keeps them, fresh and keeps them wanting to, improve things at the facility. So, September 21st, the 13th annual Adobe Cup.
And then last year, something that really shook out the points race, where it looked like one guy had an advantage. And I would say, and I could be wrong, that race was the moment in which kind of the championship, I wouldn't say was determined, but really, really shooken up a lot.
Yeah, so it actually was interesting. So basically all three championship contenders, if one thing or another happened better, they, easily could have won the title, where Justin Cox had the fuel cell issue, pickup problem, where he could have won the race. He ended up finishing seventh, so that cost him some points. Dylan Bloomfield was leading the main event, ended up getting into a lap car, spinning out, still came back for a good finish. But if he would have won the main event, he would have been your champion. And then obviously Caleb Montgomery, who we talked about, 4 points out of the championship, he got upside down and finished last on the opening lap. So if he would have finished anywhere up there, he'd be your champion. So that definitely played a key role in the title outcome.
Yeah, and then Colby Copeland went on to win the race. So Van Laer's sweep of the Petaluma shows, and no doubt that team is just so tough there.
Yeah, that's, the 5E's always been synonymous with Petaluma Speedway, and that was on full display last year.
Well, and then we get into kind of the fall type of the year. King Speedway in Hanford Cotton Classic. That'll be Friday, October 4th. Now, last year was wild and crazy, in which when SCCT was in town, they weren't able to compete, and there was a makeup race. But no doubt that race, October, Cotton Classic, King Speedway, that's a perfect recipe.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it last year. Is that time of the season, the weather's starting to cool down, and it kind of really gets more people out to the grandstand. So it's been a lot of fun, and that kicks off a big month down in the Central Valley.
Well, and then the next week, the next Saturday, October 12th, Thunderbolt Raceway in Tulare. Kind of I guess you could say it's sort of a tradition that they're starting at Thunderbolt, is the Trophy Cup tune-up, which is a great opportunity for drivers to dial themselves in with no implications of how it's going to wind up for the Trophy Cup for the following week, and a great opportunity for drivers that have never been here, just kind of dial in and kind of fine-tune things.
Yeah, we saw that this past season, and this time, we're going to sanction it with the Sprint Car Challenge Tour, so we'll have some championship excitement thrown in the mix there, and gives a great chance for teams to get one final tune-up prior to the Trophy Cup, and all the fans, maybe coming from out of town, they can come in a week early and get a night of racing in. And
then it all comes to a close November 2nd, Saturday night, Stockton Dirt Track, for the tribute to Gary Patterson, with the NARC 410 series also on the card. So again, one of those deals, if you like sprint car racing, this is the place you want to go to. And Justin Sanders, he won the season opener, and then he won the season closer.
Yeah, Sanders bookended things last year, and Stockton's another track that there really isn't a lot of wing sprint car racing. I think there's 3 appearances by NARC. 2 of those have the Sprint Car Challenge Tour with them, and then the Outlaws are there for a show. And as far as I know, that's it when it comes to wing sprint car racing at Stockton. So not a lot of opportunities to get out there. And like I said, we're crossing our fingers the new configuration works, and we'll bring out even more excitement for the GP this year.
And last year was my first time ever at that place, and the facility is amazing. It reminds me kind of Central Washington State Fair Raceway in Yakima, Washington, and even Douglas County Dirt Track, where it's old school fairgrounds, concrete slabs everywhere, everything's nice and clean, and it's got a really cool vibe to it.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the coolest facilities that we go to. Of course, it used to be, an old horse track, so everything is built grandstand-wise for a horse racing. So it's, I say there's not a bad seat in the house. I know some people, they say, it needs to be close to the track, but you can go down and stand near the fence if you want to get up close and personal with it. Last year it was a tremendous crowd at the Gary Patterson race, so hopefully even bigger this year.
And I just love the winner's circle, a traditional winner's circle right in front as well. That's super cool, kind of super nostalgic as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's become a tradition to crown champions down there. It's been since, I think, 2014 or 2013 that we've crowned at least the NARC champion, and the last handful of years with SCCT as well. So that's become a really cool tradition.
Well, and as you mentioned kind of towards the start of the interview as well, like there's going to be new announcements that'll be happening as kind of the winter continues to go on the quote-unquote off-season. What's the best way for folks to follow along for upcoming news or updates that is going to be happening with the Sprint Car Challenge Tour?
Yeah, so you can visit sprintcarchallengetour.com. That's our official website. We have all the news and info, the schedule, and whatnot on there. And then you can visit us on Facebook by just typing in Sprint Car Challenge Tour, and then you can follow us on Twitter at 360 SCCT for all the latest breaking news.
Perfect. And then streaming is the same as last year, correct? Cali Dirt TV?
Yeah, CaliDirt.tv. That'll be the official streaming provider of both SCCT and Placerville as well.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing the 2024 season. 2023 was really riveting each and every round. And before you know it, it'll be March 30th, and we'll be seeing the Spring Fever Frenzy get in action at Placerville Speedway.
I'm looking forward to it, Ben, and thank you for having me on, and we'll see everybody in 2024.
This episode is a production of Highside Racing Promotions. Be sure to like the YouTube as well as Facebook page and like these videos. The more likes and the more attention it gets, and we would like to get as much information out to the racing community. Whenever or wherever you're watching these episodes, we hope that you enjoyed them